other, and that's our connection. And we're so connected that way. And that doesn't mean it's great all the time. We have hard conversations. We have tears. We have disagreements. That's actually normal in a relationship, isn't it? Like, it's normal to have disagreements. It's normal to be frustrated with each other. It's normal. Like, that's a part of it. Conflict's a part of it. And so we work through it together, and we're willing to.
Silence detonated inside the gym the moment the whistle froze midair. Coaches stared. Cameras trembled. And then Paige Bueckers stepped out of line, dropped her practice jersey, and walked away, leaving Team USA stunned and breathless. In that same heartbeat, Caitlin Clark took control, calling sets, barking orders, owning the floor like it had always been hers. What looked like a routine practice turned into a seismic power shift, and everyone in the building felt it. Whispers erupted before the echoes died. Was this rebellion? A protest? Or the breaking point of a rivalry simmering behind closed doors? Paige's eyes said everything: frustration, exhaustion, betrayal. Across the court, Caitlin didn't flinch. She locked in, sharpened, and led shots snapping through the net as if the moment demanded dominance. Assistants scrambled. A head coach went pale. Phones buzzed as leaks hit social media in real time. This wasn't just about minutes or egos. This was about control, legacy, and who truly runs Team USA when pressure suffocates the room. Veterans bristled. Young stars froze. Sponsors watched. League executives held their breath. And somewhere between the dropped jersey and Caitlin's commanding voice, a line was crossed that couldn't be uncrossed. By the time the doors slammed behind Paige, the truth was unavoidable. Something had snapped, something had shifted, and something massive was about to explode, because this practice didn't end with a walkout. It ignited a war that would decide Team USA's future. Tonight, every decision will be questioned, every loyalty tested, and nothing forgiven. Long before the practice exploded, the fracture had already formed, quietly and visibly, inside Team USA's perfect public image. Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers were never supposed to collide like this. They were marketed as twin pillars of the future, interchangeable faces of excellence, smiling side by side for cameras while the league sold unity. But behind closed doors, the air had been tightening for months, thick with unspoken resentment and a rivalry sharpened by every headline, every endorsement, every whispered comparison. Paige had carried the weight of expectation since she was a teenager, the golden standard, the savior archetype. Injuries stole time but not belief. Coaches protected her, veterans vouched for her, the system bent to preserve her brilliance. She learned early that silence kept the peace and patience paid off. Caitlin's rise shattered that equation. She didn't wait her turn. She didn't soften her edges. She walked into gyms and took ownership, stretching defenses, hijacking attention, forcing the game to orbit her. The praise was relentless. The numbers were undeniable. And with every logo 3, something shifted in the hierarchy. Team USA felt it first. Plays quietly tilted. Late-game drills subtly favored Caitlin's range. Staffers stopped asking who wanted the ball and started asking Caitlin what she wanted to run. Paige noticed everything. The glances, the pauses, the way teammates looked to Caitlin when things tightened. Even Aaliyah Boston, once Paige's steady anchor, began syncing more with Caitlin's tempo, drawn to the gravity of her confidence. Kelsey Mitchell cracked jokes to ease tension, but even she felt the split. The locker room began choosing sides without saying a word. League politics made it worse. Sponsors circled Caitlin like sharks sensing blood in the water. Media narratives crowned her the engine, the future captain, the inevitable leader. Paige smiled through interviews, deflected questions, praised team basketball. But the strain carved lines beneath her eyes. She had been told this was still her team. She had been promised balance. Yet every practice reinforced the truth she didn't want to accept. The power had already shifted. Coaches tried to manage it quietly. They emphasized chemistry in meetings, preached patience, rotated leadership roles on paper. But on the court, urgency overruled diplomacy. Caitlin delivered under pressure, always. When drills collapsed into chaos, her voice cut through. When scrimmages stalled, she took over. Teammates responded because winning responds to decisiveness. Paige, meanwhile, felt boxed in by restraint, expected to adapt rather than lead, to fit into a system suddenly built around someone else's audacity. Social media sensed the tension before it broke. Clips were dissected frame by frame. Fans argued over body language, over who got touches, over whose leadership felt authentic. Anonymous sources leaked quotes hinting at frustration, at favoritism, at cracks in the foundation. Kathy Engelbert's office tracked the noise, wary of optics, terrified of a public fracture that could split the league's momentum. Team USA was supposed to be untouchable. Instead, it was becoming combustible. By the time that practice began, emotions were already raw. The drill order favored Caitlin. The final possession was hers without discussion. Paige hesitated, just a fraction too long. And in that hesitation lived every swallowed grievance. When the whistle blew and Caitlin called the next set without looking back, something inside Paige finally snapped. It wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about respect, identity, and the fear of being replaced in real time. She peeled off the jersey because words had failed her. Because staying meant accepting a truth she wasn't ready to live with. Because walking away was the only power she felt she had left. The room froze not because she left, but because everyone understood what it meant. And as the doors closed behind Paige, a single thought rippled through the gym, unspoken yet deafening. If this was only the beginning, what would happen when the fallout reached the world outside? The doors hadn't even finished echoing shut when the real chaos began. The head coach's clipboard hit the floor, plastic cracking like a gunshot, and suddenly everyone was talking at once. Assistants argued over whether to stop practice or push through. Veterans demanded answers. Younger players stared at Caitlin Clark, waiting, instinctively, for direction. And that was the moment that changed everything. Caitlin didn't hesitate. She clapped once, sharp and loud, and told everyone to reset. Run it again. The command sliced through the noise. A few players blinked in disbelief. Others moved without thinking. The drill restarted faster, harsher, more intense than before, as if Paige Bueckers had never been there at all. That's when the coach realized the unthinkable truth. Team USA hadn't collapsed. It had recalibrated, and it was recalibrating around Caitlin. From the sidelines, the coach's face drained of color. This wasn't part of the plan. Caitlin wasn't supposed to assume control so openly. Not this fast. Not in the aftermath of a walkout that could spiral into a PR disaster. Yet every pass snapped with precision. Every call Caitlin made was answered instantly. Aaliyah Boston sealed defenders on command. Kelsey Mitchell sprinted lanes without question. Even players who had privately aligned with Paige found themselves pulled into Caitlin's rhythm, because resistance felt like losing. Meanwhile, down the hallway, Paige stood alone, hands shaking, phone vibrating nonstop in her pocket. Texts poured in, teammates, friends, family, agents, all asking the same thing: what happened? She didn't answer. She couldn't, because the truth was uglier than anyone knew. She hadn't just walked out. She'd walked away from a meeting that had happened the night before, a closed-door discussion with coaching staff where she'd been quietly told the offense would be recentered for international play. Recentered around Caitlin. Paige would still be important, they said. Still vital. Just not the axis anymore. That revelation detonated in her chest now, replaying as she stared at the practice facility exit. She had sacrificed years for this jersey, played through pain, swallowed comparisons, smiled while the spotlight drifted. And now, in the name of urgency and winning, she was being asked to shrink, to adapt, to watch someone else drive the machine she once powered. Walking out wasn't impulsive. It was the only protest left. Back on the court, the first shocking twist unfolded in real time. The coach, under pressure and visibly rattled, made a decision that stunned everyone within earshot. Practice wouldn't stop. And more than that, Caitlin would run the final scrimmage. Full control. Play calling. Rotations. Everything. It was meant as a temporary measure, a stopgap to regain order. Instead, it became a coronation. Caitlin took the ball and didn't look back. She dictated tempo like a conductor commanding an orchestra on the brink of collapse. She benched a veteran mid-scrimmage for missing an assignment. She pulled a rookie aside and adjusted her defensive angle. She waved off a play the coach suggested and ran her own counter. And the terrifying part? It worked. The team clicked in a way it hadn't all camp. Defense tightened. Shots fell. The energy sharpened into something dangerous and undeniable. Phones lit up again, this time with leaks. Someone posted a blurry clip of Paige leaving the building. Another angle caught Caitlin barking orders, finger pointed, eyes blazing. Within minutes, social media exploded. Hashtags collided. Fans picked sides. Analysts speculated wildly. Was Paige being pushed out? Had Caitlin staged a takeover? Was Team USA tearing itself apart weeks before the biggest stage? Kathy Engelbert was alerted before the scrimmage ended. Her staff scrambled to contain the narrative, but it was already too late. Influencers spun conspiracies. Former players chimed in with cryptic comments about respect and earned leadership. Sponsors panicked. Team USA's image, carefully polished, relentlessly controlled, was cracking in public. The first call came to Paige's agent, then Caitlin's. Then the coach's phone rang, vibrating nonstop in his pocket as he watched Caitlin drain another deep three, the gym erupting around her. He knew he'd crossed a line. He'd handed authority to the one player powerful enough to seize it. And now there was no clean way back. As practice ended, Caitlin finally looked toward the tunnel where Paige had disappeared. For a split second, something flickered, regret, maybe, or understanding. Then it hardened into resolve. She gathered the team at center court and spoke quietly, intensely, about standards, sacrifice, and winning at all costs. Some nodded. Some avoided eye contact. Everyone listened. That night, Paige broke her silence. Not with words, but with an action that sent shockwaves through the league. She unfollowed Team USA's official account. Then she unfollowed Caitlin Clark. Within minutes, screenshots spread like wildfire. And buried beneath the outrage, beneath the hot takes and speculation, one detail went almost unnoticed. An email sent from Team USA headquarters to league officials with a subject line that changed everything. Emergency roster and leadership review. No one knew what decision was coming, only that it would pick a side, and someone's future was about to be rewritten. The escalation was swift, ruthless, and impossible to contain. By morning, the gym was no longer the center of the storm. The entire league was. Sports shows led with the walkout. Commentators argued over leadership versus entitlement. Former legends took sides and clipped soundbites that only deepened the divide. Inside Team USA headquarters, the mood curdled from shock into panic as executives realized this wasn't a single incident. It was a fracture that threatened everything from chemistry to contracts. Caitlin Clark woke to a phone buzzing like a live wire. Missed calls from her agent. Messages from sponsors asking if she was okay. A text from a veteran teammate that simply read, "You didn't ask for this, but now it's yours." She stared at the screen, jaw tight. She hadn't planned a coup. She hadn't whispered to coaches or leaked anything. She'd just done what pressure demanded. Still, the narrative was spinning without her permission, and it was painting her as both savior and villain. Paige Bueckers, meanwhile, sat in a quiet hotel room with the curtains drawn, scrolling through clips of her own exit slowed down, zoomed in, dissected. Her silence had become fuel. Every pundit projected motives onto her: fragile ego, righteous protest, calculated leverage. None of them mentioned the private meeting. None of them acknowledged the promise that had been broken. Her agent warned her to speak soon or risk losing control of the story. Paige typed a statement twice, deleted it twice, then threw her phone across the bed. Words felt like surrender. Team USA's emergency review convened behind locked doors that afternoon. Coaches argued that chemistry would recover. Executives countered that optics were already bleeding. A sponsor liaison warned that rival brands were circling Paige, sensing opportunity in perceived mistreatment. Another exec slid analytics across the table. Engagement spikes whenever Caitlin's name appeared. The numbers were brutal, impersonal, and persuasive. Winning mattered. Reach mattered. Stability mattered. Something had to give. The second major twist detonated when the coach made a decision that stunned even his allies. He released the next practice plan to players and staff, and Paige's name wasn't on it. Not day off. Not rehab. Simply absent. No explanation attached. Within minutes, screenshots leaked. The omission became a headline. The implication became a verdict. Paige wasn't just benched. She was being phased out. Caitlin learned about it the same way everyone else did, through a teammate's shaky voice on a call. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't what she wanted. She called the coach immediately, demanding clarity. The answer she got was careful, rehearsed, and chilling. "We're protecting the group." Caitlin hung up and stared at the wall, realizing the machine she'd stepped into didn't slow down for anyone, not even its new engine. The locker room split widened into a canyon. Some players rallied behind Caitlin, convinced decisiveness was the only path forward. Others felt sick, whispering that this crossed a line, that loyalty still meant something. Aaliyah Boston tried to mediate, pulling teammates aside, urging patience, but trust was leaking out faster than she could patch it. Kelsey Mitchell snapped at a reporter and stormed off. Paige's closest allies stopped posting altogether, their silence louder than any tweet. Then came the leak that changed the temperature entirely. A confidential memo surfaced online, time-stamped, authenticated, outlining a proposed leadership structure for Team USA going forward. Caitlin Clark was listed as primary on-court decision-maker. Paige Bueckers was categorized as situational usage pending alignment. The phrasing was clinical. The impact was devastating. It read less like a plan and more like an erasure. Paige saw the memo and finally broke, not publicly but privately. She called Caitlin for the first time since the walkout. The call lasted 6 minutes. No one knows exactly what was said, only that both voices were raised, then quiet, then broken. Caitlin apologized. Paige laughed, a short, hollow sound, and said apology wasn't power. When the call ended, both women sat alone with the same realization. The conflict had outgrown them. Fans erupted again, this time angrier, more polarized. Hashtags demanded justice for Paige. Counter hashtags crowned Caitlin the future. Old clips were resurrected to prove loyalty or selfishness. The league's attempts to cool the temperature only poured gasoline on it. Kathy Engelbert issued a statement about unity and excellence, and it was instantly ratioed. Unity felt like a slogan now, not a reality. Behind the scenes, sponsors made moves. One paused a campaign featuring Paige, pending clarity. Another fast-tracked content with Caitlin, betting momentum would carry them through backlash. The calculus was cold. Careers were becoming bargaining chips. And in the middle of it all, Team USA had to submit a provisional roster to international officials by the end of the week. The final escalation came quietly, almost politely. Paige's agent received a call from a high-ranking official offering reassurance, flexibility, and a path forward, if Paige would publicly reaffirm commitment and embrace the evolving leadership structure. The message was clear: bend or be bent out. Paige asked for time. She was given 12 hours. Caitlin, unaware of the ultimatum, was pulled into a closed-door meeting of her own. She was told the team needed her voice, publicly. A statement of leadership, confidence, ownership. She felt the weight settle on her shoulders like armor she hadn't chosen. When she asked what would happen to Paige, the answer was a pause. A look, and then silence. That night, Paige posted a single image to her story. A photo of her jersey folded neatly on a hotel chair. No caption, no emojis, just fabric and shadow. Within minutes, the internet exploded again. Was it goodbye? A threat? A bluff? As midnight approached, Team USA's roster deadline loomed, sponsors hovered, and two generational stars stood on opposite edges of a decision neither could control alone. One would emerge as the face of a new era. The other risked becoming a cautionary tale. And somewhere inside headquarters, a final document sat and signed, one line away from making the split permanent. The fallout hit like a tidal wave, drowning nuance and mercy in raw emotion. By sunrise, the story had escaped basketball entirely. Morning shows framed it as a power struggle. Late-night hosts joked nervously, sensing blood in the water. Former players posted tearful threads about loyalty and sacrifice, while analysts sharpened their knives, ranking blame as if it were a stat. Every take felt louder than the last, and none of them waited for truth. Caitlin Clark walked into a sponsor meeting and felt the temperature shift before anyone spoke. Smiles were tight. Questions circled her like drones. How are you handling the leadership role? Do you feel supported? What would you say to fans who feel Paige was pushed out? Each word pressed harder, demanding a confession she didn't have. She answered carefully, voice steady, but the subtext was clear. Her brand was rising, and the world wanted to know if it was built on someone else's collapse. Paige Bueckers, on the other hand, disappeared, and that disappearance became its own scandal. Paparazzi camped outside her hotel. Fans tracked flights. Rumors multiplied in the vacuum. Some claimed she'd been suspended. Others insisted she was negotiating a private exit. A few whispered darker theories about health, about pressure, about breaking points no one wanted to name. Paige stayed silent, and that silence turned her into a symbol. For some, she was the betrayed artist. For others, the fragile star who couldn't adapt. The cruelty of certainty spread fast. Inside Team USA, the locker room felt like a crime scene after the tape was pulled. Conversations stopped when certain players entered. Eye contact became risky. Trust felt radioactive. Aaliyah Boston tried to hold the center, reminding everyone why they were there. but even her voice cracked under the weight of it. Kelsey Mitchell snapped again, this time at a teammate, and stormed out before practice ended. The coach watched it all with a face carved from stone, knowing every fracture would be blamed on him. Kathy Engelbert's office issued another statement, longer, warmer, emptier. It spoke of respect, dialogue, and the strength of women's basketball. It was meant to calm. Instead, it enraged. Fans flooded comments demanding accountability. Hashtags trended calling for investigations, resignations, transparency. A former legend posted a single sentence, "This didn't have to happen," and it racked up millions of views in hours. The league's carefully built momentum now felt like a glass sculpture trembling under a bass note. Then came the endorsements. One brand quietly removed Paige from a homepage carousel. Another paused a campaign without explanation. Screenshots spread, accusations followed, and suddenly corporate decisions were being read as moral judgments. Caitlyn's deals, meanwhile, accelerated. Announcements rolled out with perfect timing, glossy visuals, confident copy. Supporters cheered her success. Critics called it blood money. Caitlyn saw the comments late at night and felt sick. Not because she was winning, but because winning had never felt so lonely. Paige's phone finally lit up with a message that pierced the noise. It was from a teammate she trusted, someone who had sat beside her on buses, shared injuries and laughter. "They're saying it's done," the message read. "Rosters being finalized without you." Paige stared at the words until they blurred. Done. Finalized. The idea that a career-defining dream could be reduced to administrative language felt obscene. She typed back one word. Source? Then erased it. She already knew. The public took sides with ferocity. Jerseys were burned. Jerseys were bought. Comment sections became battlegrounds where strangers diagnosed motives and mental health with terrifying confidence. Clips of Paige's old interviews resurfaced, twisted into evidence. Clips of Caitlyn's intensity were slowed down, framed as arrogance or strength depending on the narrator. The same images told opposite stories, and everyone chose the one that confirmed what they already believed. Behind closed doors, the coach received a call he'd been dreading. International officials wanted reassurance. Sponsors wanted guarantees. Broadcasters wanted drama contained, or at least predictable. He promised stability he wasn't sure he could deliver. When the call ended, he sat alone in his office, staring at a framed photo of past teams smiling in unison, and wondered when leadership had become synonymous with loss. Caitlyn and Paige still hadn't spoken again. Mutual friends stopped trying. Every attempt felt like lighting a match near gasoline. Both women were being pulled in opposite directions by forces too big to fight head-on. Caitlyn was told to stand tall, own the moment, be decisive. Paige was told to be patient, strategic, cooperative. Both messages sounded reasonable. Both felt like traps. The emotional cost surfaced in small, devastating ways. Caitlyn missed a routine shot in practice and froze, heart racing, the weight of expectations suddenly crushing. Paige woke up from a dream where she walked back into the gym and no one looked up. She sat on the edge of the bed and cried, not for the team, but for the version of herself that believed excellence would be enough. And then, just as the outrage began to peak, a new rumor surfaced, quiet at first, then roaring. An unnamed source claimed Paige had been offered a choice no one knew about. A path back, but not to Team USA as it existed now. Something separate. Something unprecedented. The implications spread like fire. This wasn't over. It was mutating. As night fell, Caitlyn received an alert from her agent marked urgent. Paige, in a different city, received one too. Both messages referenced the same thing. A meeting scheduled at dawn with league executives present. No agenda attached. No guarantees offered. Only one line at the bottom, identical in both messages, chilling in its simplicity. Attendance required. And with that, the storm held its breath, waiting to see who would walk into that room, and who would walk away forever. Dawn arrived without mercy. The meeting room was cold, glass-walled, and deliberately neutral, the kind of space designed to make power feel invisible while it rearranged lives. Caitlin Clark arrived first, jaw set, eyes tired but alert. Paige Bueckers walked in moments later, posture calm, expression unreadable. They didn't speak. They didn't look at each other. The silence between them carried months of pressure and one irreversible practice. League executives filed in next. Kathy Engelbert took the center seat, hands folded, voice steady. Coaches lined the wall. Lawyers hovered just outside, close enough to hear, far enough to deny involvement. The door closed. The world, for once, was locked out. It began with acknowledgement, carefully chosen words about excellence, visibility, and responsibility. Then the turn. Engelbert slid a single-page proposal across the table. It wasn't a punishment. It wasn't an apology. It was a reimagining. Team USA, the document claimed, faced an unprecedented moment. 2 gravitational forces pulling the program apart. The solution was radical. A split leadership model, effective immediately. Caitlin would be named on-court captain and primary offensive architect. Paige would be designated global ambassador and alternate unit leader, activated situationally based on matchups and public-facing priorities. Paige's fingers tightened. Situational. Activated. Public-facing. She asked one question, voice flat. So I'm optional. No one answered right away. Caitlin inhaled, then spoke, surprising everyone. She said she didn't want a crown carved from compromise. She said leadership only mattered if the room believed in it. She said winning didn't have to look like erasure. The coach shifted uncomfortably. An executive countered with numbers, engagement curves, broadcast projections, sponsor alignment. The future, they said, demanded clarity. Paige listened, nodding slowly, absorbing every syllable. When it was her turn, she didn't argue. She didn't plead. She thanked them for honesty and asked for one addition to the proposal. If she accepted the role, she wanted a clause guaranteeing competitive minutes in elimination games. Not situational, not symbolic. Earned. The room stalled. That clause threatened the architecture they'd built overnight. Caitlin watched Paige with something like awe. This was the Paige she knew, precise, unflinching, unwilling to disappear quietly. Engelbert asked for a brief recess. In the hallway, Caitlin finally spoke to Paige. She said she never meant to take something that wasn't offered freely. Paige replied that nothing at this level was free, and pretending otherwise was how people got hurt. They stood there, not reconciled, not enemies, just 2 athletes trapped inside a machine that rewarded collision. The executives returned with a revised page. The clause was partially approved. Conditional. Performance-based. The words were smoother. The implications weren't. Paige studied the paper, then slid it back untouched. She asked for a pen. When it arrived, she signed, but not the role. She signed a counterstatement attached to the back, one that triggered a dormant provision few people remembered. An independent exhibition series under the Team USA umbrella, designed to expand international reach in non-Olympic windows. Paige would lead it. Full autonomy. Full minutes. Separate staff. The room erupted. Lawyers whispered furiously. Coaches stared. Engelbert leaned back, calculating the blast radius. Caitlin felt a rush of something dangerously close to relief. And fear. This wasn't a compromise. It was a fork in the road. By noon, the leaks hit. Headlines screamed split, revolt, new ERA. Fans melted down in waves. Some called Paige a genius. Others called it a betrayal. Caitlin was crowned and condemned in equal measure. Sponsors scrambled to attach themselves to both narratives, hedging their bets. The league issued a statement praising innovation and unity in the same breath, and no one believed a word of it. That afternoon, Team USA submitted its provisional roster. Caitlin's name sat at the top, bold and final. Paige's name appeared elsewhere, leading a different list, one that didn't exist yesterday and suddenly threatened to outshine the original. Commentators debated which stage mattered more. Players whispered about where loyalty should land. The coach wondered whether he'd just save the program or split it clean down the middle. As night fell, Caitlin watched footage alone, replaying the practice that started it all. She paused on the frame where Paige dropped the jersey. For the first time, she wondered if leadership meant knowing when not to step forward. Across the country, Paige packed a bag, folding that same jersey with care, not as a goodbye, but as a reminder of what she refused to lose. Then, just before midnight, a new alert cut through the noise. International officials announced a surprise change to the upcoming tournament format, one that allowed exhibition series results to influence seeding for the main event. Analysts went silent. Fans gasped. The implications were seismic. 2 teams, 2 leaders, 1 pathway to the same stage. And with that single rule change, the war stopped being symbolic. It became competitive. Winner advances. Loser fades. No joint statements. No shared podiums. Just basketball. And the reckoning it would bring. The last notification of the night flashed on both their phones at the same time. The first exhibition matchup had been scheduled. Opponent, Team USA. If you think this ends with a roster list or a press conference, you're already behind. This is no longer about one practice, one walkout, or one decision made behind glass walls. This is about a sport standing at a crossroads, and fans deciding which future survives. Because what happens next won't be settled by executives, coaches, or carefully worded statements. It will be decided by attention, outrage, loyalty, and who the world chooses to believe. Right now, the league is watching you. Every click, every comment, every share is fuel. When fans rally behind Caitlin Clark, they validate a vision built on dominance, decisiveness, and unapologetic control. When fans defend Paige Bueckers, they amplify a warning that greatness doesn't mean surrendering identity, that silence can be power, and that walking away can sometimes be the loudest stand of all. The numbers will speak, the noise will matter, and the league will follow whichever fire burns hotter. This moment demands more than passive watching. It demands a side, because the exhibition matchup is coming, and it's no longer a friendly tune-up, it's a referendum. One floor, two philosophies, two leaders forged by the same system and split by it. When the ball tips, there will be no neutral ground left. Every possession will feel personal. Every bucket will rewrite the narrative. Every substitution will echo that practice where everything broke. So speak, argue, defend, call out what you think is right or what you think is rigged. Hold the league accountable. Hold the players human. Refuse the easy story and interrogate the uncomfortable one. Because once this game is played, there is no undo. One path becomes legacy. The other becomes myth. And don't look away when the cameras cut to the benches. Watch the body language. Watch who stands. Watch who doesn't blink. That's where the truth will live. Because the next whistle won't just start a game. It will answer a question the WNBA has been avoiding for years. And when that answer comes, someone's crown will be permanent. Someone's silence will be final.